Here's the spider. We had a beautiful week last week where we rallied right up to the broken trend line, and we fell like so. And this trend line represents strong resistance now. And the next support levels, as I've mentioned, are twofold. One of them is the midline to this channel that goes all the way back about 16 years now, and the election day gap. So yeah, so that's what we'll keep watching. The diamonds are also down. And in this case, we got kind of close to the election day gap, just like we did last Wednesday, but we didn't get past it. So we're essentially near today's highs. We've been rallying mightily off of this morning's initial weakness, which is annoying. Here's the cubes, which are down about 0.8%. And happily, these are cleanly below the broken trend line. They've been kind of monkeying around here for the past few days, but we have a clear break. And in this instance, the election day gap is way, way, way down here. So it would take a lot more selling to get us in that neighborhood. Although there are some really high flyers that have really flipped lower without hardly any general market weakness, like Carvana is one. It peaked on its counter trend rally at 268. It's down to 209 now. That's something like 20%, maybe more of its value. Jumping overseas, EFA is down about 1/3%. And we've got kind of a sloppy top here. But the more important thing is that this wedge has been very cleanly broken. And this goes back to that important October 13, 2022 bottom. And so this entire object here is really kind of a diamond. Let's just rough it out here. That's actually pretty good. Do this long enough, you get good at it. So let's just like so. Yeah, so that sort of suggests the diamond pattern, even though it's egg-shaped. That's going on with EFA. I would also note that Mexico is down pretty hard, and I've mentioned Mexico many times as a prospectively good bearish play, because not only is the trend line completely busted, but just from a narrative standpoint, it doesn't seem that U.S. economic relations with Mexico are going to be anything glorious with the new administration. So this is, I don't know, if you squeeze your eyes just right, you can kind of see a head and shoulders top on this, but everything above the bottom of the semicircle represents the top. And so this is slipping pretty hard. Like I say, this is over 2.33%, pretty big down day for Mexico. Speaking of Bitcoin again, let's zoom in on this. This is worth keeping an eye on, because the lifetime high for this so far was over $108,000. That was around the middle of the month. And we have shed about 13 to 14,000 of that at present levels. And we're just sort of grinding around here. I mean, for like 6 weeks now, it's just been kind of meandering up and down, not really doing much of anything interesting. I would say that should we break 90,000, here more precisely 9770, that would, I think, open up the prospect for a trip down to the lower 70,000s. And the 90,000 level is psychologically important, because just like we all saw the mania that took place when six figures was breached, which lasted a few days. Should we slip below 90, that puts 100K, so it's like over 10% away at that point. It's just, these big round numbers matter. So if we crack 90,000, you can expect to see the selling accelerate. And like I said, I would expect that it's completely plausible that we would ultimately head down to the lower 70,000s. In turn, MicroStrategy is off about 3.5%. And from this great distance, it looks like MicroStrategy is doing just peachy. They're down just a little bitty bit. No, it's not a little bitty bit. It's about 40%. With this sort of scale, because basically this was a failed internet company and they were a penny stock. And sailors recrafted this into a giant Bitcoin holding company by borrowing tens of billions of dollars in cash and buying up Bitcoin. So they own, I think, 2.8% of all the Bitcoin now. But in spite of what looks like a little bitty blip, it has moved from 543 to get to almost 300 today. So pretty big drop. And if Bitcoin does start to really slip lower, then obviously that'll bleed right into MicroStrategy. Their average holding price, incidentally, their average purchase price on all that Bitcoin is around $62,000. So it's profitable. They're about a 50% profit right now. But, sink below that and, all you've got is a giant losing position and nothing more. So you got to show for it, but it's not there yet. I want to talk about fads real quick, because I'm almost out of time. Over the past few years, there have been a lot of fads. Like one was a cannabis fad. Here's the weed ETF that's, kind of bombed out. Another one was DNA editing, designer babies, CRISPR technology, all that. Here's Edit, one of the big leaders there. You can see the results. 3D printing, that was a big one. You can see where that's at. And my point being that, these fads all capture the public imagination. It creates huge trading volume, and then they just flame out. The latest one is quantum computing. And so you've got stocks, and I'll just turn the volume on here, which we usually don't clutter up the screen with volume, but just to show how these have gone from stocks nobody cares about to the only thing people care about. So even on a day like this is up. Here's Rigetti computing. Here's quantum computing. And again, take note of the volume. I'm mainly showing this because the volume here is D-Wave Quantum Inc. But the one that I found kind of amusing was this one right here, Quantum SI. Now, just like the other quantum compatriots, the volume's gone crazy. Look at this. The volume used to be 300,000 shares, 500,000 shares, 100,000 shares, etc. Then what happened? 280 million shares, tens of thousands percent increase, just absolutely bonkers. I can even make it really big like this. You can see what the volume did. And, kind of makes sense. Quantum is a big deal. Everybody's into quantum. There's one problem, though. They don't have anything to do with quantum computing. They make devices for, like, biology. It's zero. It has much to do with quantum computing as the slope of hope, probably even less. But the magic was that they have the word quantum in their name. That's it. So this goes to show, it's amazing to me that in this age where we have never had easier access to abundant information, this sort of bizarre behavior can take place. So just saying, it was just like, remember Long Island Iced Tea, that company a few years back, and they changed the name to like Blockchain or something like that. They just want to hop aboard. So kind of amusing, kind of crazy. Just thought I'd say. Anyway, getting away from quantum for a sec. Gold, GLD, is down a little bit, about 0.25%. And silver is down about 5 times as much percentage-wise. And I've been kind of bearish on precious metals, not directly, but mainly because of the miners. Because I do have some June puts on GDX, and that's doing okay. We're off about 1% on GDX today, and the head and shoulders top on that one's banged out pretty nicely too. One of the top stocks of the past 8 months, Tesla, is down a little, but the Fibonacci's continue to rule the roost here. You can see that was the former lifetime high, and thus far, here and here and here and here, and even today, it's providing support. Very important that that support maintain, since this is obliquely correlated. Energy still really pretty rounded tops on that one as well. Schlumberger we haven't seen in a while, so just thought I'd share that chart too. SMH, the semiconductor ETF, demands vigilance. Keep an eye on that. I think that is key to getting any kind of real selling going. So far, it's pretty sort of kind of held up with NVIDIA at its side. But this reversal top, should it complete, would get things rocking. And should it be escaped, would spoil the party again for the bears. So very, very important to watch SMH.